America, Babylon the Great, and we are the Most High Yahweh's chosen people of the nation of Israel. So without further ado, as always, just want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom is the God of the living, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, Baruch Wadash, meaning all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten and anointed Son, Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, whom is our strength and our Redeemer, and our light and our salvation. With that, Mashana, Kabwadim, Lahas Quanium, Shal, Gadawah, Rakab, meaning double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, the true shepherds of Israel, along with the like-minded Sequani, while Akim pushing in sound doctrine and faith, truth, and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. All right. With that, Shalom, honors, salutations to Bayasha Dawada, the 144,000 elect governing body of the house of David, along with the rest of the one-third elect men, women, and children of Israel. And this is your fellow servant, Malak Rayab. She's back at it again with another lesson, all right, of another prophetic update of this CHIP, this MOTB, pursuing a revelation, the 13th chapter, all right, which is otherwise known as a karagma, okay, a physical insertion into the skin, okay, which is wicked according to the laws of the Heavenly Father, okay, pursuing Leviticus, the 19th chapter, but yet these devils, okay, are further being exposed as the adversaries of righteous instruction of the word of life, okay, being that the word shaitan in the Hebrew, okay, for Satan means adversary, and these devils are the epitome of, adversarial intentions against the Heavenly Father's righteous instruction, man. All right, doing the spiritual demon shaitan's bidding, like it says in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, and that includes targeting children. Okay, this new generation, if you will, the so-called, I believe this, the millennials and whatnot, okay, or Generation Z, or whatever they refer to, this new generation, okay, the so-called future, okay, by indoctrinating the minds of children with this agenda, okay, this, mainly through the device that's engineered to replace these global currencies, man. In the midst of this global supply chain crisis / energy crisis, these devils, these international crime central banking families, otherwise, biblically known as the Dukes of Edom, okay, the throne of iniquity of the rulers of the darkness of this world, are further promoting this agenda by targeting children. This is why a top NATO ally in the Netherlands, okay, known to push this aspect of the agenda of these wicked elites, being the CHIP, okay, came out with an ad, all right, as you see here. So I'm about to play this clip, all right, where it says 20% discount off for getting a micro CHIP in your child's brain, all right, which lines up with Revelation 13 to 16 to 17, man. How it's prophesied that this device, okay, would be relied on, okay, for people to further sustain their livability, man, their livelihoods in this case, okay, being able to continue to buy and sell and trade and so forth, okay, otherwise being forced with the predicament of having to, get off the grid. You see, that's why these devils are purposely depleting and exacerbating these resources, all right, so they can further condition the minds of people to seek the ruler's favor by eating out of their hand, man, or accepting their way of living to sustain one's livelihoods, man. You see, so this further exposes who the devil is, man. So without further ado, go ahead and bring out some more of this information. Go ahead and play this clip, and I'll run this out as further edifying as order to your elect. So it says a TV show in the Netherlands, School TV, is promoting getting a CHIP in your brain to school kids. The sell is being able to do things like comment on TikTok hands-free by simply thinking about something. So before I play this, go ahead and bring out this copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which permits allowance to be made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All right, so I'm going to play this clip.
Als ze in je huisdieren zitten, kunnen ze dan ook in. Daar ben ik dus echt helemaal excited over. Ik heb dus een chip in mijn hoofd laten zetten. Ik hoor je al denken, in je hoofd, maar ja, in mijn hoofd. En het is echt een top klappertje. Het was dus echt binnen no time gepiept, deed helemaal geen pijn. En het leuke van alles is dat ik nu absoluut alles hands-free kan doen. Door TikTok scrollen, liken, reageren, ik hoef het maar te denken en het is gebeurd. En met kortingscode ELISA20 kunnen jullie snoetjes ook 20% korting krijgen op jullie allereerste chip in jouw snoetje. Leuk hè? Die chip in mijn hoofd, die heb ik natuurlijk niet echt. Maar zou het wel kunnen? Ze zitten toch ook al in je kat en in je hond?
Volgens mij is het dan dat ze dan een chip met je adres en telefoonnummer of zo in die hond daar. Als het goed is kan je ook gewoon weten waar je hond is als hij weg is.
Ja, dat is waar. Maar als ze in je huisdieren zitten, kunnen ze dan ook in mensen zitten? Daar ben ik dus echt helemaal excited over. Ik heb dus een chip in...
Alright, so when she mentioned hands-free, that ties into the prophecy in the book of Revelation, the 16th chapter and 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, where it mentions, the lying wonders of the miracles of Esau Edom, okay, the man of sin, that the devil the Bible speaks of, who was created to steal, murder, and destroy, man. All right, that's why he lives by his sword, okay, symbolic of which is a killing instrument, and this sea hip is in correlation with the blessing of Esau's blessing, which is a killing instrument, because this instrument of death, which is a sea hip, another modern day altar to Baal, okay, is going to lead a lot of people to their death, okay. Now, children are very impressionable, so it's not a coincidence why this devil is targeting children, like he always has been known to do, being that he gets a kick out of inciting fear in children anyway, through these horror movies and like It, the clown movie, you know what I'm saying, and so forth. And that's why they're pedos, man. That's why they got exposed for their vile and profane nature, prophesied in Hebrews, the 12th chapter, and so forth, through the whole Balenciaga situation. You see, so I'm going to, and they're offering this death, this covenant with death, pursuant to Isaiah the 28th chapter as a gift. And when I spoke about children being impressionable, Jake's children are definitely impressionable, man, because our people are sottish, and stiff-necked, okay, known to suffer with idolatry, okay. So through the inciting of fear of our top oppressor, Esau Edom, a lot of our people are going to allow themselves to be given over to this modern-day altar of Baal by taking the sea hip and allowing their children to take the sea hip. And all these children that get that sea hip implanted to them will be put to death as well. Okay? Like it says in 2 Chronicles 15:13, man. Okay? For all those small or great, man or woman, children, okay? If their names are written in the land, in the world rather, okay, to marvel after this beast system, pursuing Revelation 13:3, they will be put to death. Like the elder apostle Har, I had once brought out. The Yahweh by Shem Shah is not going to put the elect in position to take that sea hip. He's not going to allow them to get the sea hip. So because a lot of people ask, well, what if you get the sea hip accidentally? Well, if you get the sea hip, you're going to get put to death. Point blank, period. But Yahweh by Shem Shah is not going to allow his elect to get the sea hip. So, case in point, we're going to start off in this first precept in the book of Hosea, chapter 9. Salakia for being long-winded. All right. This is Hosea, chapter 9. Verse 1, it says, Rejoice not, O Yasha'Allah, for joy as other people, for thou hast gone a whoring from thy power. Thou hast loved the reward upon every corn floor. Like it says in Ecclesiastes 7:7, man, a gift destroys a heart. A gift destroys a heart. Okay? But matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Ecclesiastes 7:7. It says, Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. You see? That's why, it speaks about in the book of Peter, where our forefather Lot was vexed with the filthy conversation of the ungodly, the wicked. You see, and we're in that same spirit, man, because we fear Yahweh by Shem Shai, being that what fear is the beginning of wisdom. But see, these devils ruling this world and wickedness, they have incited the fear in the masses to fear them over the Most High God, the man of war. That's why in Jeremiah 17:5 it says, "Cursed be the man that trusted in man." You see. So I'm going to grab this precept, because when the shit hits the fan, man, when these devils really collapse these global economies, okay, and suspend these governments, people are going to be looking for a savior. You see, in which that direction is going to lead them to Esau Edom. This is Revelation 13, start at verse 15. It says, And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be put to death. Okay, and this beast is this pagan Western Roman Empire, that fourth beast prophesied in the book of Daniel. Okay, and a little horn of that beast is America, further prophesied, in the 11th verse of this chapter on down. Okay, all right, and this is why these buildings, such as Washington, Washington D.C., you got the Washington Monument, got the British buildings and so forth. They're all of Roman architecture. Okay, so this is Revelation 13:16. It says, "And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads." You see, okay, that includes both small and great, man, including, in regards to the small, including children. And this leads me to this article here. All right, on winepressnews.com, it says Klaus Schwab says people's brains will be micro C-hipped by 2026. It says technology will allow authorities to intrude into the hitherto private space of our minds, reading our thoughts and influencing our behavior. Because this devil, this is a further enactment of the prophecy in 2 Thessalonians 2:8, Ezekiel 28:7, and Isaiah 14 chapter, to mention a few precepts on this subject. That comes to mind where this devil, was prophesied to further, look to play God on earth, under the guise of his God complex, which is so-called white supremacy, and this includes his devices, man, to further push out this vibration of Edomite supremacy, okay, through his religion, okay, his pseudoscience, his politics, and his military doctrine through his military-industrial complex and his technocracy. And it's all a part of his World War III algorithm, man. All right, to further, introduce this fourth industrial revolution to the world. All right, and that's why he's targeting children, the most vulnerable, beings on the earth, specifically Israelite children. So it says it's why they've been known to do, have these, conduct these experiments on our children, including the Tuskegee experiment, on behalf of the tribes of Judah and Zebulon, for example, so-called blacks and Maya Indians. Another example that comes to mind on that, you see. So I'm going to continue. It says, Klaus Schwab, the infamous founder of the World Economic Forum, believes that people will receive implantable micro C-hips in their heads by or around the year 2026. The World Economic Forum are certainly no stranger to promoting cybernetics and cranial implants. In late August, the Wine Press covered a post that World Economic Forum made asserting that there are solid rational reasons to implant a tracking C-hip in your child. See? So it says, in that report, World Economic Forum agenda contributor Kathleen Phillips wrote, should you implant a tracking C-hip in your child? There are solid rational reasons for it, like safety, you see, and no additional lying wonders of their miracles. Okay? Many children with attention deficit struggle in school. In the best case, they get special education services or classroom accommodations. However, with extra visual and audio guidance that blocks off excess stimuli, an otherwise enabled child can cope with the standard school environment, and when class is over and playtime begins, they can just take the aids off. Augmented reality doesn't end there. Your phone might feel like part of your body, but it's not put in through surgery. Technology will become more intertwined with the body in the form of implants, but it will also seamlessly integrate with the environment. You might have sensors in a chair, for example. So without further ado, I'm going to, before I get, bring out the next few precepts, I'm going to go ahead and get this other video here. All right. This other video, speaking of phones, bring this out. So it says here, let me see. Salakia. So it says, all right, so this is actually a video where a Swedish man, an Edomite, had him and his teenage daughter C-hipped. So it says here, it goes into the further lying wonders of Esau's miracles. It says, including convenience. So it says, could carrying credit cards or your house keys become a thing of the past? This father and daughter are among more than 4,000 Swedes who have already been C-hipped, and C-hip implants could soon be coming to the UK. And it's coming to America because, UK, and the Netherlands are top NATO allies, and Sweden is a top EU ally, part of that beast system prophesied in Revelation, the 13th chapter. Okay? So I'm going to play this clip.
Scummy. Aren't there risks involved in that as well?
Come one knows things.
Do you think in a few years' time, decade perhaps, we'll all have this?
Yes, of course. I really do.
So when you woke up this morning, was it the first thing that came to your mind? How did you feel?
I felt a little bit strange because now I'm a cyborg and
See, she said it feels good to be a cyborg. You see, that's the part of that transhumanism offer, okay, of their fourth industrial revolution. They're looking to normalize, man. To normalize this witchcraft, okay, part of their satanic technocracy. I'm going to continue.
I've stored my business card on my phone with my details, phone number, email address, other stuff, blood group even.
So what's the benefit of that?
When I get customers or suppliers at work, they ask for my business card. And I say, scan me.
Aren't there risks involved in that as well? Could somebody pass you by and take all that information? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so you see, and that's why they're pushing, contactless transactions through the cell phone. Which is why down there in Ukraine, another reason why they're using this Ukraine proxy, okay, to try to justify this global reset, being that the Ukraine is considered the breadbasket area of the world, where America imports a lot of their commodities, including wheat, grain, cooking oil, bird feed, to further nourish the birds, all right, so we can get our eggs. And that's why egg prices are soaring above 43%. So that's why down in Ukraine they got the Dia app, where people can indulge in these contactless transactions, which is why down there in Sri Lanka, dealing with that whole political and economical corruption that got going on down there, they got gas rationing based off of a QR code. You see, so it's all a part of their digital fourth industrial revolution. Okay, including the QR codes, the green pass under the guise of green energy. It's all interconnected within this World War III algorithm. And we'll continue the rest of this.
Yes, it is in theory possible, but you have to be really, really close. But the main thing I think is that I choose myself what I want to store on this chip.
I have the information in my chip now. That's basically just me. If I don't use it for anything, then no one can really get any data off it. But then if I start to use it at work, then work knows when I've interacted with something at work. If I then go to the canteen people know exactly what I've interacted with them. So I think we have to be cautious now, in the very early stages, to make sure that we're actually controlling how the information is being shared.
That's why they're targeting children. Okay. All right. Including when you watch this one here. Let me see. Slovakia. Yep. Says the movie industry has also been enlisted to promote getting Sea-Hip to become a cyborg. I'm not going to play it, but basically, when you watch this video, the chick you see on the screen with the afro, she's 18, and she's talking to her sister, and she's telling her sister, don't scold me for getting a Sea-Hip, because I'm 18 now. You see, but in this world, 18 is considered a child. So that's the only reason why I have to play this. I'm not going to play it for the sake of time. I'm just going to go on and continue. This is why they're targeting children, because children are very impressionable. So it says Revelation 13 and 16, he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a kadagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the kadagma, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Okay, so no one's going to be able to buy or sell without this, without this kadagma. Okay, aside from those who would look to indulge in, other means of transactions like bartering, exchanging things that are that are considered non-currency, like products, toothbrushes, wine, so forth, utilizing gold and silver, for transactions, But those are the people that can be off the grid. But those are the people whose minds are marveled after this beast system. They're gonna be afraid of fulfillment of this prophecy. And they're gonna take that sea and be afraid of fulfillment of Revelation, the 14th chapter, man. Dying in that second death. All right, that fervent heat of Yahweh by Shemeshai. Okay, so I'm going to grab this next precept in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 41. All right, and it reads, "Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity." So our children are the most vulnerable because we're under the captivity of our top oppressor, man, Esau, Edom. Okay, under that wicked covering cast over the entire earth, pursuant to Isaiah the 25th chapter, and that wicked covering cast is his wine, that Western philosophy, man, that is promoting technocracy. You know what I'm saying? These are the guises of justifying, the unveiling of this wicked beast system, man. This on behalf of this satanic NWO. You see, So, and this is why they've always been known to target our children. That's why, within the Spanish Inquisition and shortly after that, using the tribe of Gad, so-called Native Americans is another example. They were known to, put the mighty men of Gad, and capture their women and children, for sexual exploitation purposes and indoctrination purposes. In the case of the children, they would cut off their hair. They would cut off their long, thick hair, make them put on uniforms, which is why they follow that same demonstration in middle schools. It is the same system all over again, you see. And whenever the so-called Native Americans or the tribe of Gad would try to speak their broken dialects of Hebrew, including their Algonquin and so forth, they would get beat. And that lines up with this prophecy here. And this is why their agenda is further targeting our children, man. And that's why in that last clip I played on Twitter, you seen Jakes, including that 18-year-old young woman who will be considered a child in society, you see. So they're really targeting our children, okay? For the reasons outlined in this lesson by way of the curses we're under. And that's why I'm going to grab this quick precept in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6, which reads, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." Right? Not depart from what? He's going to get it. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 1. "Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord Yahweh your power commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it," which is Jerusalem, the land of milk and honey. All right, and what is part of that commandment I'm going to focus on regarding the subject matter of this lesson? You're going to get it. Leviticus 19 and 28. Okay? It says, "Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord Yahweh." You see, so getting a tattoo, getting a shot, that's really wickedness. You see, especially getting anything inserted inside of your skin is especially wicked. All right, you see. But see, the affairs of this life has has choked the word and made it unfruitful. Okay, to the minds of the wicked who are blinded by the spiritual demon Shaitan, pursuing in 2 Corinthians the 4th chapter. And this is why the mass of the world are further contributing, to pushing the wicked example of the bidding of Satan. Okay, which is regarding the masses, man. Okay, because of their incredulity, meaning their unbelief in the Lord. Mainly with the lack of fear in the Lord, but rather a fear or fear of the man of sin and son of perdition. Okay, all right, whom so happens to have the world in the palm of his hands, pursuant to Job 9:24, sitting in the seat of God, if you will. Prophesied in 2 Thessalonians the 2nd chapter. You see, so back in Deuteronomy. Matter of fact, we get a quick example. This is Isaiah chapter 36, verse 6, and it reads, says, "Lo, thou trusted in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, wherein if a man lean." Matter of fact, we start at verse 5. The point is verse 6, but this is Isaiah 36 and 5, and it says, "I say, sayest thou, but they are but vain words. I have counsel and strength for war. Now on whom dost thou trust, that thou rebellest against me?" Now, the man speaking here is Rabshakeh, which was a top servant of the Assyrian king Sennacherib. Okay, he was sent by King Sennacherib to invade Judah. Okay, All right, because the Assyrians were known as a bloody nation. This is why Assyria is another spiritual alias for America, established off of the bloodshed of the saints. You see, pursuing Ezekiel, the 35th chapter. You know what I'm saying, and so forth. Okay, so getting to the point, Isaiah 36:6, it says, "Lo, thou trusted in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him." So basically, what this heathen Rabshakeh is, telling Jake, the leaders of Jake, is what he's doing. He's mocking them, for being under the heavy influence of Egypt, because around the Neo-Syrian conquest of Egypt, around 673 BCE up until 663 BCE, okay, after Jake was, exiled to Egypt, which you can read about Hosea, the 9th chapter, Hosea the 8th and the 9th chapters, for our, perpetual transgressions against the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh by Shemeshah, the God of Abraham. Okay, we had great plagues brought upon our land, including famine, war, pestilence. You see, which is the curses of Jake, and this is why the so-called natives, for example, were plagued with biochemical and biological warfare by Esau, man, including measles, the yellow fever, smallpox. You see, which further substantiates who the lost 12 tribes of Israel are, according to the secular history filtered to biblical prophecy, and we're still going through those curses because there's nothing new under the sun. You see, so when this guy Rabshakeh said, now reading from the top, "Lo, thou trusted in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him." So let's go ahead and all right, for the context of the scripture in correlation with what the prophecy that I'm speaking about, all correlates on. I'm going to bring out this definition of reed. It says, "A reed itself, for our purposes here, there are two meanings in the word reed. One is for a plant whose hollow stem can be used as a musical instrument, whether blown across the top as a flute or in any other way that the player chooses." So reed is further symbolic of an instrument. So what that heathen Rabshakeh was further introducing is the idea of being branded. Okay, and that's why one of the Ptolemies, I believe it was Ptolemy of Philadelphus, had branded Israel with the mark of Dionysus, which is that so-called ivy leaf. You see, to make to further use that as a byproduct of subjection of Israel to the king of that heathen nation. All right, which at that time was the Greeks. You see, so that's that idea that this heathen Rabshakeh is further presenting to the nation of Israel in Isaiah the 36th chapter through that little parable he mentioned. Okay, dealing with the reed. Okay, which is that small segment of a plant or a reed stem of this plant. Okay, that grows along the rivers, like those tall branches, so those tall little light green branches. Okay, and this is why the actual reed instrument, what I'm saying, which is that top or the tip of the saxophone, for example, is composed of the reed stem. You see, which all in all just is symbolic of an instrument. You see, which is why in the musical world they have so-called reed instruments like saxophones and so forth that are composed of the reed plant or the reed stem of these plants that grow along the rivers. So basically, Isaiah 36:6 is a twofold scripture, okay, mentioning where this heathen Rabshakeh had mentioned the reeds, okay, which are those tall, reed stems of that plant, or the tall, reed plants that grows along the rivers, symbolic of a covering, okay, in correlation with the covering of Egypt that he was parabolically speaking to Israel to mock us, like as if to say, in other words, okay, well, no, you rely on this covering. Now you rely on this covering, of Egypt, like it says in Isaiah the 30th and 31st chapters, which the reed plants that grow along the rivers is synonymous with in a parabolic sense, as in a covering. Okay. And then on the other side of the spectrum, he's saying, the reed, okay, or the instrument of Egypt is likened to, a reed, okay, a reed plant. Due to the reed stem of that reed plant that grows, symbolic of what? An instrument. You see, which is what these so-called reed instruments in the musical world stems back to, the reed plants, okay, otherwise known as what? An instrument. You see, so just to go ahead and further set that example, okay, so this is back in Isaiah 36:6. Lo, I trusted in the staff of this broken reed, and meaning what? Broken covering, okay, because really he's on point with mocking our people for trusting in the covering of Egypt. That's really all this means right here, by further introducing the idea of being marked, being branded. You see. So it says, Lo, that trust in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand. You see that? And pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. All right. And people are going to trust in modern day Egypt, the house of bondage, which is America, and get this physical charagma, that physical branding in their hand. You see? So going back to Deuteronomy 6, we continue in read verse 1 again. Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord Yahweh your power commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither you go to possess it, that thou mightest fear the Lord Yahweh thy power, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son and thy son's son, all the days of thy life, and that the days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Yasha'Allah, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord Yahweh, power of thy fathers, hath promised thee, in a land that floweth with milk and honey. And that's why we got exiled out of Jerusalem. Okay? Producing in 2 Chronicles 7:19, and so forth. And it's ultimately how we wound up in America. Otherwise biblically prophesied as a Kar Aratazah in 2 Esdras, the 13th chapter, meaning what? Another land. Because the Israelites were the first people to compass about this land during the time of King Solomon's army being sent over here to fetch natural resources and such, like gold, other precious minerals, and peacocks and so forth. And that's that same pathway that the Northern Kingdom, so-called indigenous tribes, followed to get over here. Part of that ancient nation, prophesied in the book of Isaiah, that was the first people to dwell here. And this ultimately why we came over here, because it was prophesied that we would come over here to serve our enemies and their gods, and, especially the gods of these Edomites. And they're going to present this charagma, of the satanic altar to a top god they still worship, Baal, otherwise known as Molech, okay, which required blood ritualistic sacrifices of human beings and children. And this is why they are targeting children, because these devils are demented, man. They're sadistic, you see. So this is Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord Yahweh our power is one Lord, which is a Shema prayer. Shema Yasha'Allah Yahweh Allahayanawa Yahweh Chad. Deuteronomy 6:5, it says, And thou shalt love Yahweh thy power with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. And that's talking about the law. This is going into the law of the phylacteries. Okay, it's basically going into, the laws, that covering that we were supposed to, tie around our head, all right, and wear around our arms, all right. So jump down to verse 13. Thou shalt fear the Lord Yahweh thy power, and serve him, and shalt swear by his name. Okay, ye shall not go after other gods of the people which are round about you, for the Lord Yahweh thy power is a jealous power among you, lest the anger of Yahweh thy power be kindled against thee, and destroy thee from off the face of the earth. Ye shall not tempt Yahweh your power as ye had tempted him in Meshah. Okay, because we were known to rebel against Yahweh by Shem Meshah in the wilderness, and so forth. You see? All right, and this is verse 17. Ye shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord Yahweh your power, and his testimonies, and his statutes which he had commanded thee. And this is why in the 15th verse, he threatened death, against our people, for refusing to follow his laws, statutes, commandments. And a part of those laws, statutes, commandments is not getting anything pricked inside of the skin. So, all of Israel, men, women, and children that gets that charagma instead inside of them will be destroyed. Okay, and this is why we're out on the highways and hedges to warn our people, okay, to unconform their minds from, this beast system, okay, and all the other similar affairs of the world that are contrary to the righteous instruction of the word only given to Israel, pursuant to Psalm chapter 147, verses 19 and 20, okay, to adhere to this word or face destruction, man. You see, just like in war and generally speaking, there's always two sides. There's never a third side. That's why Judas Iscariot had to find that out the hard way, man. Being lukewarm. Okay, and that's why in Revelation it says that lukewarm souls will be casted out. So in the spiritual war, further spoken about in Ephesians 6 chapter, you're either going to ride with the beast system, okay, indicative of the satanic vibration of the spiritual demon Shaitan, okay, or you're going to follow Yahweh by Shem Shai out of fear and trembling for one's salvation, man. This is the message that we bring forth week in and week out in the highways and hedges, man, within the chief places, the concourse, the marketplaces, where we were commanded to push this word, at the highways and the hedges, point blank, period. Okay, so that way Jake would not have a cloak for their sins, pursuant to St. John the 15th chapter. Okay, Deuteronomy 6 and 17. Ye shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord Yahweh your power, and his testimonies and his statutes which he had commanded thee, and thou shalt do that which is right and good in the sight of the Lord Yahweh, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest go in and possess the good land which Yahweh swore unto thy fathers. You see? Once again, that's why we got exiled out of Jerusalem. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this precept in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. I'm going to start at verse 67. All right, 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 67. All right, and it reads, Behold, the Most High God Yahweh himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall the Most High God Yahweh lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. Okay, including Jacob's trouble, prophesied in Jeremiah 37, man, a time of civil unrest, is a further effect of scarcity of resources that people will be fighting over, prophesied in 2nd Ezra, the 6th and the 15 chapters. Okay, in the midst of food rationing, water rationing, gas rationing, okay, and also in the midst of which will result in martial law, okay, and a form of that is what they got going on down there in China and Iran, okay, where these military and intelligence forces are wreaking havoc on insubordinate citizens, and these are further omens as what's to come to America, man. Babylon the Great. And that's why Isaiah 24 and 10 and 2nd Ezra 15 and 17 goes into this, man. Complete darkness. Okay, a lack of being able to go in or come out. Okay, because America itself is a trap. You see? A trap of wickedness. And only those whose name is written in the book of life, pursuing a Daniel the 12th chapter, will be spared from these snares, man. Like it also goes into in Psalm the 124th chapter. So this is 2nd Ezra 16 and 68. For behold, and speaking of that trouble, and add on to that trouble, prophesied in the previous verse, ultimately includes thermonuclear destruction, man. And before that, the hour of our temptation, and revelation. Okay, having to face taking the sea hip or not. Okay, to bow down before the image of the beast and take his charagma or not, or risk death. Okay, striving. Okay, for this truth and to the point of death, like it says in Sirach, the 4th chapter. So 2nd Ezra 16:68 says, For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, and feed you, being idle with things offered to idols. Meaning what? Idle means vanity. So vanity, okay. So vanity, okay, will be offered to our people of this covenant of death, all right, through these idols, including the sea hip, the top idol, to Baal Molech. 69. And they that consented to them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. Okay, they're gonna consent in their derision to this beast system out of fear and hopelessness. You see, and that's why I believe it's Zechariah 9 and 12. It says, it speaks about how we are the prisoners of hope. In Romans 15 and 4, it says, the things written aforetime were written for our learning, for patience and hope in the scriptures. Or a matter of fact, let me get that real quick. I don't like Slaki. I don't like butchering scriptures, so go ahead and get that. Romans 15:4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." And that's why in Isaiah 33:6 says what it says, man. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times. When all hell's breaking loose, the elect are going to be stable in their minds for adhering to the fear of the warnings of adhering to the righteous instruction of keeping the ways of the Lord by way of our measure of faith, okay, to be deemed worthy enough to be spared from the snares of death, okay, of the righteous indignation of Yahweh by Shem Yahshai, man, okay. So this is Second Esdras, back in Second Esdras, chapter 16, verse 69, and it reads, "And they that consented to them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, Yahweh by Shem Yahshai. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, Yahweh by Shem Yahshai." And this is going to include women and children. Esau is not going to give two fucks, man. I'll say it just like that. You're not going to give two fucks, man. Okay? If you're on an FBI color-coded list of through the red and blue sections, okay, then you are definitely on his hit list. Even if you're on a yellow section, okay, you're still considered goyim to this devil, bottomless cattle, bottomless sheep. He does, because this devil doesn't he doesn't give a shit about nobody, man. Even his people, even his own people, including these homeless Edomites you see walking around here begging for change and cigarettes and whatnot, man. You see, like it says in Sirach the 14th, in the Sirach the 14th chapter, the 5th verse. If this devil is evil to himself, what good can he do to anybody else, man? So he's coming down with great wrath, okay, pursuing a Revelation, the 12th chapter, knowing that he has but a short time to achieve the satanic NWO, which entails what? Okay, collapsing these global economies, okay, including these currencies, okay, suspending these governments and rendering lawless societies, and then offering a solution of his Hegelian dialectic, which is a C-hip. So, in layman's terms, it's either get down or lay down with this devil, and this is surreal, man. This is not a joke. So all you men in Israel that haven't been teaching the true prophecy, and teaching about the true prophecy of this kadagma, okay, you're gonna have a lot of blood on your hands that will not go unaccounted for, man. Like it says in Ezekiel the 3rd chapter. So this is Second Esdras, and these devils are gonna be like madmen, going door to door, pursuing Jeremiah 18:22, and this is why, in a political sense, they've been pushing what's it called, man? What's that term? Around the time of the global pestilence we all know about, that I'm not going to mention for algorithm purposes. It escapes my mind at the moment, but I know the El Paso politician down here, Beto O'Rourke, was pushing it, where they go door to door. I can't think of the name of it right now. Yeah, they go. But anyway, this is Second Esdras 16 and 72. "For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall it be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire, the elect. Hear, O ye my beloved, said the Lord, Yahweh by Shem Yahshai. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same." How are we going to be delivered? Including myself, Adon Ratazav, the elect. Okay, right here. This is Psalm chapter 50, verse 15. "And call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me." And pursuing to Acts 4:22. This is the only name that we shall call on. In the Hebrew, the Lord's language, otherwise known as the language of Canaan, spoken about in Isaiah 19:18, okay, that we shall be saved by. Acts 4:12. "Neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved." And salvation is only for Israel. So I'm going to end it off there and give all praises, glory, infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom is the God of the living, Yahweh, Bahashim, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, Baruch Kodash. For bless me with the spirit to do this video. Your prayers further edifying, exhorting to your elect. And with that, I